1 billion. That's how many identity records were just found sitting in an unprotected database. No password, no encryption, nothing. Names, addresses, national ID numbers, dates of birth from 26 countries. 203 million of those records belong to Americans. And the company responsible? An identity verification firm called IDMerit. The same type of company that governments around the world now want to force you to trust with your most sensitive information. But here's where it gets truly unbelievable. Just days after the biggest identity leak in history made headlines, a United States senator introduced a 291-page bill that would make this exact system mandatory for every single person who uses the internet. So why would Congress push for more identity collection right after the system proved it can't protect what it already has? That's the question no one in Washington wants to answer. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. On March 18, 2026, Senator Marsha Blackburn introduced what she calls the Trump America AI Act. 291 pages, 17 different policies bundled into one massive piece of legislation. On the surface, it's about artificial intelligence safety, about protecting children online, about keeping America competitive in the AI race. But buried inside those pages is something that has nothing to do with AI and everything to do with control. Universal age verification, which is a polite way of saying digital identity for everyone. Under this bill, every online platform would be required to verify the age of every user, every existing account frozen until the user proves who they are, not with a username, not with an email, with government-issued identification. Your social media, your email, your streaming accounts, your cloud storage, all of it, locked until you hand over your identity to a verification system run by private companies. The same kind of companies that just leaked 1 billion records to the open internet. And no one voted for this. No referendum, no public debate, just 291 pages of legalese wrapped in the most politically bulletproof packaging imaginable. Because who could possibly oppose protecting children? But before we get to what this bill actually creates, you need to understand just how catastrophic the system they're pushing has already proven to be. Because the IDMerit leak isn't just big, it's unprecedented. In February 2026, cybersecurity researchers at Cybernews discovered that IDMerit, a company performing Know Your Customer verification for businesses worldwide, had left an entire database exposed on the open internet. No password, no authentication. Anyone who knew where to look could access it. 1 billion records. Full names, home addresses, phone numbers, dates of birth, national identification numbers. 26 countries. In the United States alone, over 203 million records were exposed. That's roughly 60% of the entire American population, sitting on an unprotected server. And here's what IDMerit said when confronted. They claimed their systems were never compromised, that the data belonged to independent sources, that their security infrastructure was, quote, intact. The data was sitting on the open internet without a password. Anyone could access it, anyone could download it. Names, social security numbers, home addresses, all of it wide open. You can call that a lot of things. Intact is not one of them. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because this wasn't an isolated incident, it's a pattern. In October 2025, Discord lost 70,000 government ID photos that users had uploaded for age verification. A dating app leaked 72,000 verification selfies, and those are just the breaches that made the news. Every single time a government mandates identity verification, it creates a honeypot. A centralized database containing the most valuable information a criminal could ever want. And the more platforms required to collect it, the more databases exist, and the more targets there are for every hacker on Earth. The age verification industry is building a surveillance infrastructure so massive that a single breach can expose the majority of an entire country's population. And that's not a hypothetical anymore. It already happened. So if the system is this broken, why is Congress pushing harder than ever to expand it? And this is the part that should genuinely concern you. Because the bill was never really about children. Children are the packaging. The product is infrastructure for permanent digital identity. Think about the mechanics. If every platform must verify every user's age, then every person online must have a verified digital identity. That identity is tied to your real name, your government ID, and your activity on every platform that implements it. That's not age verification. That's a national digital ID system, built and operated by private corporations, with no democratic oversight, no meaningful opt-out, and absolutely no guarantee your data won't end up in the next billion record leak. And here's the part they really don't want you thinking about. Once this infrastructure exists, it can be used for anything. Today it verifies your age. Tomorrow it verifies your political opinions, your financial transactions, your physical location. Every authoritarian regime in history would have killed for a system like this. And we're building it voluntarily, with taxpayer money, under the banner of safety. This next part is the reason I made this video. The Blackburn Bill doesn't just create an age verification mandate, it sunsets Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. For those unfamiliar, that's the law that has protected online platforms from liability for what their users post since 1996. Without Section 230, every platform becomes legally responsible for everything posted by every user. The only way to manage that kind of liability is to verify, monitor, and control every user's identity and activity. Digital ID isn't just a provision in this bill, it's the enforcement mechanism for the entire regulatory framework they're constructing. And the bill goes further. It allows the Attorney General, state attorneys general, and private citizens to sue AI developers for harms tied to their products. The legal exposure is so enormous that every company will overcomply. They won't just verify your age, they'll verify your identity, your intent, and your behavior, because the cost of not doing so is existential. Right now, half the states in America already enforce some form of age verification law. 9 states passed new ones in 2025 alone: South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Wyoming, North Dakota, Arizona, Ohio, and Missouri. The EU's digital identity wallet launches this year. Australia already mandates age verification for social media. This isn't coming, it's here. The infrastructure is being built right now, state by state, country by country, bill by bill. If this bill passes at the federal level, there will be no corner of the internet where you exist without a verified identity attached. Every search, every message, every account tied to your real name, stored in databases controlled by companies that have already proven, publicly, catastrophically, that they cannot keep your information safe. I'd argue that handing your government ID to an age verification company in 2026 is a worse security decision than reusing the same password on every website. At least a stolen password can be changed. Your social security number, your date of birth, your home address, those don't have a reset button. Ask yourself this: if the company that was supposed to verify your identity just leaked the identities of 203 million Americans, why on earth would you trust the system with more data? If your answer is that you wouldn't, you're paying more attention than your elected representatives. Here's what you need to understand. Digital identity infrastructure, once built, never gets dismantled. It only expands. The Patriot Act was supposed to be temporary. 25 years later, it's still here. Airport security was supposed to be an emergency measure. Now it's permanent. Every new regulation, every new crisis, every new moral panic becomes a reason to collect more, verify more, and track more. And digital ID will follow the exact same pattern. The only real defense is understanding what's being built before it's finished. Use encrypted communication, support organizations fighting mass surveillance, and pay very close attention to the bills your representatives introduce, especially the ones they bury inside 291 pages of something else. 1 billion records were exposed because someone forgot to set a password on a database, and the response from Congress is to create more databases just like it. That's not protection, that's not safety, that's a trap. And now you see it for what it is: